The first presenters are Ms. Arai Emi, Ms. Hoshino Kotomi, and Mr. Shi Wenhan. Their choice is Theme 1. Please start.
Hello, everyone. Now, please imagine we are in a classroom. I'm your teacher, and you are my students. Now, I will teach you something about math. The thing is, a rectangle is fragile, a triangle is stable. Now you learn it, you may think, okay. And then you may forget it after 5 minutes. So let me change the way I teach. Before I tell you that, I will say, hey, look at this house. Do you know how to make it more stable by using pillars? To solve this problem, maybe you'll search information from internet, read books, or discuss with your friends. After that, you may do it like this. Wow, it looks strong, but this one is more stable. And you may ask, why? There are lots of pillars in this one, but this one only has 2. And I say, well, that's because a triangle is more stable than a rectangle. And now you think, oh. So if I teach in this way, I believe you will never forget it. See, this is the difference between passive learning and active learning.
So today, we are going to talk about Japanese compulsory education. We believe that Japanese education should balance both passive learning and active learning. But traditional Japanese education has mainly focused on passive learning, which lets students perform well in basic academic abilities. Actually, according to the result of PISA 2018, PISA is an international assessment that measures reading, mathematical, and scientific literacy of 15-year-old students. And Japan ranked first in mathematical literacy and second in scientific literacy. This achievement is remarkable. However, Japanese education does not offer sufficient active learning. In contrast, other countries such as the US and Germany often conduct group work in classes, and students are always required to express their own opinions. But Japanese education does not require such skills. Let me talk about my experience. Before I entered university, it was not necessary to have my own opinions and express my thoughts as long as I got high scores in exams. So, when I entered university at first, I was very confused and even scared to have different opinions from other students. Therefore, we need more opportunities to have our ideas and express them in compulsory education. If Japanese education balances both passive learning and active learning, it will develop more and more.
To balance both passive and active learning, we'd like to introduce another AI. What do you think AI means? Artificial intelligence? No, our AI stands for active interaction. Active interaction means to create opportunities to interact actively. We think future education should combine this AI with passive learning and active learning. First, what is passive learning with another AI? In the current education system, only a few students can take classes from proficient teachers. So we won't give more students opportunities to interact with teachers who are very good at lecturing. We plan to record classes conducted by skilled teachers so that all students can take great lessons by watching the videos. They will watch pre-recorded classes through projectors equipped in each classroom. Meanwhile, teachers will walk around the classroom to help students concentrate on their studies. Then, how about active learning with another AI? It will make opportunities of interactions with others by utilizing online services and technologies. We want students to interact with not only teachers, but also others. Who are others? In the system, they are workers, scholars, and students in other countries. By interacting with them, students learn how academic subjects can be applied to our lives. For example, architects know how physics and knowledge of disasters apply to constructing secure buildings. So they will teach students the utilities and importance of academic subjects through lectures. And then students can have discussions related to the topic. In this way, students can find reasons to study. How about scholars? Scholars can give students a unique knowledge that students cannot get in their regular classes. And after that, students share their thoughts and opinions about it. Furthermore, interaction with students in other countries are good opportunities for intercultural communication. Actually, we arranged a casual meeting with Indian friends during this pandemic. And we were very impressed by realizing how our cultures are different and how active they are in a communication. In this way, interactions with others will cultivate a skill of thinking and expressing one's opinions, and students can get stronger interest in academic subjects through the communication. What do we need for the meeting with others? Only 3 things. Set a meeting time, prepare digital devices, and connect to the internet. That's it, very easy.
So what kind of benefits will another AI give us? First, students can take better lessons by watching high-quality teaching videos. And second, students will have independence of mind through the interaction with others and discussions. So how about the benefits from interacting with others out of a given school? Let me give you an example. Do you know this company? Marelli? As you can see, it's a very huge company, but not many students know it. We interviewed Ms. Miyuki Moteki, a recruitment staff of Marelli. She said, we really want to contribute to education and let more students to know more about our company. However, it takes too much time and money. For example, when they go to Fukuoka from Saitama to teach students about their company's technologies and products, it will take 3 days and 64,000 yen for transportation and accommodation. In contrast, if they can use the online tools, the money and time will be saved. And also, he said, as a company, they want the people who can find the problems and solve the problems actively. So cultivating children's independence of mind is also good for a company. So how about the benefits for scholars? We interviewed Dr. Fujii, a professor who teaches international law in Utsunomiya University. He often goes to schools to teach children international understandings and human rights. He told us the students were very excited about his lectures and asked many questions to him every time. If another AI is available, he can let more students to learn and get interest in his field.
We used to think interaction is a face-to-face phenomenon, but COVID-19 has taught us that interaction is possible wherever we are. So let's take the concept of another AI into Japanese compulsory education to balance passive learning and active learning, because passive and active learning are both necessary for students. Welcome to the new era of Japanese compulsory education. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, everyone. Now we are going to questions and answer session. Judges, please.
Okay, may I ask?
Yes,
first?
please.
Okay, that was very interesting. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can see that you worked on this presentation with a lot of thought and a lot of time and energy, and I appreciate that. And I enjoy the content very much. I have just a couple of questions. So you mentioned active learning as opposed to passive learning. I would like to hear in your own words, what is the advantage of active learning? Okay. In your own words, what is the advantage of active learning? That's the first part. And the second part is, my observation is that in the Japanese school system, as you said, the learning is passive from elementary school all the way through college. If you think that active learning is so beneficial, and you have to tell me why, I really would like to know in realistic terms, how can you cultivate active learning in Japanese society from a young age, and not wait until university level?
Thanks for your question. So the first question is, what's the advantage of the active learning? So the active learning and passive learning actually interact each other. The students can output the knowledge they learned from the passive learning part to the active learning. For example, students may take the class to study the knowledge of the physics. They study the format and the calculation, and then they can use these things to create something in their group works, or they can discuss something they learned from the class. So the active learning is an opportunity for students to utilize their knowledge they learned from the passive learning. So in that way, the active learning will stimulate students' passions to learn more and more. Yes.
And about your first question, the benefit of active learning is give students the skill to think and express their thinking. I'm doing a part-time job at cram school, and students ask me many times, why must we study and which school should I go? So they don't know the reason to study, and they can not decide even which school to go. I think that is a very big problem, because they cannot live by making a decision by themselves. So to make students' life better and better, they have to get the skill to have their opinion and express their thinking. I think to giving these skills is the most beneficial about active learning. Thank you. And the second question?
So the second question.
How to conduct active learning in every class. So the second question is that how can we manage and conduct active learning in compulsory education, right?
Yes.
Thank you. So even now, some active learning are conducted like presentation and debate, but the number is very few, because teachers don't know how to conduct these active learning. So we need another actor, not only teachers. So we introduce the interaction with others, scholars and workers, because they are doing like active learning, thinking and expressing in companies and universities. They are doing so much, and foreign students doing active learning in their classes. So giving interaction is the opportunity of active interaction, and of course getting knowledge about from scholars. They can do discussions about the topic and contacting with students in foreign countries is just active learning. Think about it, think themselves, and express their feeling. Thank you.
May I ask a follow-up question? Is it okay? Do I have time? We introduce active learning at MIT as well. The big challenge, and you mentioned it, is to train teachers who are used to more passive learning, because that's how they learn themselves as students. How do you train teachers to embrace active learning?
Thanks for your question. As you said, it's a very difficult question. So we assume that the schools or the government will provide the special training programs to the teachers. And also in our project, the teachers have to use the online tools. So maybe some of them are not familiar with that. So the schools and the government may have a program to train them. And also in those teachers, some of them maybe are very familiar with the active learning, and some of them are not. So maybe they can teach and learn each other among these teachers.
Yes, and once they know how to use online services, they can use for forever, like in their teacher's life. And we are thinking about future education, so we think many things in long term.
Yes, and it's also a good opportunity to let teachers enhance themselves.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your question.
That's for a question.
Thank you very much for your very interesting presentation. And I gathered from your presentation that the main point is for Japanese children and students to learn to think on their own. And from that viewpoint, you suggested the mechanics for doing that,
Yes.
the concept of other AI or whatever. One of you mentioned debate in passing.
Yes.
I happen to think that debate is a very important element in all this, in learning to think for yourselves and also to listen to others. So I would like to ask you how you think, how you visualize the role of debate in what you are talking about, and specifically how you feel that the teaching of debate can be promoted in the context of Japanese education.
Thank you for your question. In this current Japanese education, I think it's difficult to having debate in classes because students are doing just what teachers tell them to do, and they are just getting knowledge from teachers. This situation cannot conduct debate because there are no space for thinking. And in our program, students have interaction with others. It makes, and scholars and foreign students and company officer give them opportunity to think. For example, Dr. Fuji tell international law, and he explains about war and what is peace, how and think about the situation of in Africa or any kind of things. And he said that students' opinion are different about it. In math, students' opinion are not different because the answer is only one thing. So we need more opportunities to think about the question which has a lot of answers. So it make the chance to debate themselves.
Some people say, with respect to this idea of critical thinking, that the important thing is to keep asking questions instead of believing what your teachers say or what your bosses say. Do you agree with this?
Yeah.
Just keep asking questions until you are satisfied. And that's how you learn to debate. Do you agree with that?
Yes, in some cases, it actually like this. There are a lot of things in this world, there isn't a correct answer. For example, should women stay in the house to do the housework like a housewife or go outside to work? This is a very serious gender question, right? So in the debate, something like the mathematics, they have the exact answer, but a lot of things, they don't have the exact answer. So through the debate, the students can utilize the knowledge they've learned to express that logically, to pursue other people to believe them, and they can express this feeling. So I believe in a lot of cases, there isn't an exact answer. So.
Thank you very much. I look forward to debating with you in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, presenters. It seems we don't have time for questions from the audience at this time. But however, thank you, Ms. Arai, Ms. Hoshino, and Mr. Shi. Wonderful presentation.
第一発表者の皆さんありがとうございました。